This week, not in the shop.
Nope.
What are we doing now?
We're going that way.
Every time you guys see us in the truck together and we say we're not in the shop, we're doing one of three things. We're either going for a ride, going to sell something, or going to buy something. And we don't really sell stuff, so.
I was gonna say, I don't know why you even suggested that one.
We don't have any four-wheelers with us, so we're not going for a ride. So what are you going to buy?
Well, from my understanding, it's a 1982 Honda Goldwing.
All right.
I don't know if it's the GL 1000 or 1100. I don't remember which one it is. But basically, it's somebody we know that bought it, was gonna fix it, and decided not to. So I decided I'll buy it and fix it.
He's getting it for a freaking steal, people.
Not a bad price.
No, for a freaking steal. I'll be honest, it's the French special.
Yeah.
We both work with the guy, so.
It's got 17,000 miles on it, which if anybody knows Goldwings, that's nothing.
I think the piston's just finally seated to the cylinders.
Probably.
So.
And those things are good for close to, you know, a couple 100,000 miles.
Yep.
So, man, unfortunately, it's going to need some work. From what I understand, some pieces. The guy started taking the bags off and stuff. He wanted to clean it up, repaint it. It is that classic Goldwing brown and gold color scheme. And
yeah, we're gonna keep driving over here, and we'll talk to him, see if he lets us film a little bit while we're at his house, and we'll kind of go from there. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Cool. All right, so what are we looking at here?
A pile of parts. Did you text them?
I did.
Hopefully he didn't go to sleep.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I said, come outside, cutie. Well, here's the bike.
Yeah.
But
Looks like it'll be fun figuring out how it gets all together.
it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I would leave it at this and do your brakes, check the bushings on your swing arm, all the shit that you have to pull the swing arm off for anyway. But
I wonder if you cut those.
yeah, we're gonna talk to our friend here and go from there.
Any rear bolts and rear hardware. Okay.
Now, one bolt. The bolt that goes on this side.
Okay.
Is it in here?
No, yeah, it's right here. No, it's not. It's in the bag there. It went through the ounce, it went through the bag and on the ounce inside of everything. I didn't know this.
I pressure washed it, and that's what it sounds like. All right, so as you see, got the Goldwing in the shop. I put it up on the motorcycle lift, and I put the front fairing on here, kind of. I still have to take it back off to reattach these pieces properly. The previous owner, the guy we got it from, didn't really do much work to it. All he did, he tore everything off, and he was going to either make it a naked bike or he was going to clean it up, repaint it. I decided I'm just going to kind of put it back together and see if I like it. If I do, then I'll go through and repaint it. If not, then we'll go from there. I did do like a quick pressure wash of it. I haven't done the tune-up or anything. That's all sitting over there. This thing came with, I'll show you guys, came with 2 brand new tires. It came with oil filter, front and rear brakes, Honda spark plugs, and then it came with the original Aspencade bags. Both of them came with a pair of frog togs there. So I noticed when we got this that the battery terminals here look like, you can see it's melted. 100% melted, destroyed. I don't know what was going on there. This battery's 2021, so it's not that old. They had a wire here with a fuse going to the negative terminal that apparently came up this way. So none of the lights in the back work because this is supposed to go to the power. Run the power up to the set of switches that they have here and then run it back. So I don't know what all the switches did. Let's see here. They all did something, obviously. You can see here, like this wire is chewed through. Then they came down and then they ended up all running into here. These two wires were for something up in here, I believe. I don't know what. Then you have the other wire coming down through here. I believe one of the wires was going down to the lights that are over on the front fender. And then this wire that was running towards the back went for all the lights on the rear. I guess you'd call it a cage. So once I figured out what was going on with all this wiring, now kind of understand what was happening and why this is like this. So I don't know. I really want to know how they did that. I have no idea how. So just a quick overview on what this thing is gonna need. The tires are from 07. At least that's the date marker on the front and rear. So we got the new tires to replace them. The battery's gonna have to definitely be replaced. Obviously gonna do the tune-up and everything. I told Noodles that I wanted to put everything back together. And I wanted to see if I liked the bike before I do anything crazy with it. Unfortunately, the guy we bought it from, he cut the air lines. So you can see he cut the air lines here for the rear. He cut the air line for the front. So I'm going to find the correct airline there, correct airline for these. He said that they were cracked, leaking. I don't see cracks. I don't know if maybe just the shocks themselves were leaking and he didn't realize. I have no idea. Or maybe the air compressor wasn't working properly. I'm not sure. But I did get the air compressor from him today. So basically I'm going to go through and I have to clean out in here. There was a nice little mouse nest built up in here. You can see there's a nice remnants in there. So I'm going to clean it out the best I can and go from there. You can see some of the wires have gotten chewed. So I'm going to have to go through, check all of the wiring in the front here. Like the speaker wire here. You can see that was chewed through. They started chewing on the blinker wire here, but didn't get through it. So I probably going to end up taking a screwdriver or pry bar or something to scrape all that up so I can just vacuum it out. It does have the CB radio equipment here, which is kind of cool. But you can see it's all built up down in there. Let's see. I did notice putting everything together, as fried as that battery it still works. So got headlight. So that works, which is good. Blinkers. This one works. But for that one, the light's out. Or this one here, the bulb's out. Oh, the radio works too. I pulled it out because I'm going to pull this whole thing out to clean back here and try and get everything out easier. So there's no power going through here. No work because it's all disconnected. I'll probably end up just pulling most of this out and rerunning new wires. So the light up here works. This actually works too when the radio's in. I'll grab that real quick and slap it in, show you guys. Alright, so the radio in. Does work. See, it's reading. Not really going to get any music because the antenna's not connected. Tail light does work, which is cool. Brake light works. So it kind of works. Volume's a little sketchy. And only one speaker works. So, there is a clock that's set up there, which is neat. I like that. Yeah, it's got those neat old features. So I'm going to go through and keep on keeping on. This went up here somehow. I don't know. I got to figure it out. All right. Oh, you know what? Probably mount it up here. Something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Yeah, but I wanted to give you an update of what was going on. So I'm going to reattach the front here, get this all back on before I do the tune-up and whatnot. And the oil change. But, yeah. I'll update you when I get a little bit further on, and we're going to go from there. All right, so I got the front fairing pieced back together here. You can see, cleaned it out quite a bit. There's still some residue in there. Never going to get it all out unless I take it all out, rip the entire harness out, and go from there. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it alone. And at least I'm not going to do it for now. Maybe another day. For this blinker here, I already put this whole thing in. I ended up fixing the wires. Took some wires off my spool thing up there and just color matched white, blue, green, and cut out the bad parts and made it so this is all good now. All the other wires in there were good, so I don't have to worry about those. Thank goodness. You can see here where they had the original wiring here. This looks like they took a extension cord and cut it to extend it for some reason. This is for the horns. Unfortunately, I don't have the horns. They mount up under here, so I'm going to order some. No big deal. I believe I'm going to do the oil change now. I was going to put more on, but I'm going to do the oil change. Probably do the spark plugs. I got to drain the gas tank. I want to drain any of the old fuel out. And then I do want to, I'm going to get some seafoam and run through it. So it does run. It doesn't run perfect, but I think I might be okay with getting away with some seafoam through the carburetors to break everything up. This bike has not been on the road since 2015. So it's, it's got some issues. You can see here where they'd previously tried to take off this front fairing here, and this is all got destroyed and chewed up, and so I'm going to have to look for a front fender of some sort. A lot of the stuff here I'm going to hit with a Brillo pad or some Coca-Cola, clean it up, and try and get some of the rust off. I think a lot of this chrome is going to have to end up being painted black because I'm not going to pay to re-chrome it, and I think trying to find all of these pieces now for this bike is going to be a little bit of a pain. So yeah, I just want to let you know that this is all back together. The lights now, both lights now work. Oop. So we got both a headlight, and I don't have to worry about there being a fire. All right, so I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to do the oil change, and we'll go from there. And I'll probably end up throwing on the lower fairings here and whatnot. So I'm going to get the tools And we're going to try and figure out how to do the oil change on this. Because I've never done one on a Goldwing. I don't know if the plug's underneath, on the side. I pray to God it's not in the back or in the front. I have no idea. I see the filters in the front, but we'll find out together. All right, so down here, up front, you have your water pump housing. This is your oil drain plug. This is the oil filter. So the drain plug is a 17. And we're going to see what this looks like together. This bike was a little low on antifreeze. So I'm hoping that there's nothing in here other than oil. But we'll see in a second. Oh, it looks black. Oh yeah. It looks just like regular oil. Okay, not milky, none of that stuff. That's a good thing. So I'm gonna let this drain. I believe it's, I don't know how many quarts it takes, but it is what it is. All right, I'm gonna set this down for a second. All right, so this bolt here is a 12 for the oil filter. There we go. I saw some horror stories online where people over tighten these and strip them out so it doesn't look bad. This one wasn't super tight, so which is a good thing. So I'm going to finish taking that. I'm going to let it drain a little bit, and then I'm going to finish taking it off. We're going to look at this filter together and see if there's any sparklies. Oil itself looks all right, but we're going to pull this off fully and check this filter and see what it looks like. So I'll check back with you in a minute. All right, I'm going to let this drain for a little bit, but you can see I got it off. This is super clean in here. There's no sludge. None of that nasty stuff in there. It's really clean. Me and Noodles were talking, and he thought that maybe this bike had 117,000 miles on it, but I don't think there's that many miles on it. I think we're looking at a 17,000 mile bike. So I'm going to let the rest of the oil drip out of this, and we'll peel it out, and we'll go from there. All right, so got it all apart. You can see there's an O-ring here, there's an O-ring here, so I have both O-rings. I also have a new crush washer for the drain plug. I have a spring as well here. I don't think it really matters about the orientation. Neither on the filter, because both sides look pretty much the same. You can see this filter has seen better days. I don't know if that's from it being crushed or it looks yeah, pretty worn out. So I don't know how many miles that thing's got on it, but it's got quite a few. So I'm going to change out the O-rings, which you should always do when you're doing this. And then this spring goes that way. So the spring will go down. You'll shove the bolt through. Spring will go down first. Oil filter goes on top of the spring and goes right into the engine like that. So I'm going to do that, put it back on, and I'll see you when we're filling back up. Alrighty, so the oil filter is back in. The drain plug is back in. You see all our old oil down there. When I pulled the drain plug out, it did not have a crush washer on it. The filter came with a crush washer, so I figured why not put it on there, call it a day. I don't see no leaks, so I think we're good in that aspect. I've put 3 3/4 quart in there. I did start it for a couple seconds and then let it sit and then, you know, go through everything. But if anybody's ever had to check the oil on one of these, it is definitely not fun. So because it has these chrome accents here, there is that hole right there. Behind it is the sight glass. There's a little screw on it. You can use a long screwdriver, turn it, and it's a wiper that wipes the glass. I don't know why they did that. So yeah, I turned it around, wiped it down, checked it. It's a little bit on the higher side. I'm not going to try and get all close in there and show you every little thing. It's definitely a pain, so I'm definitely going to have to carry a little flashlight with me just to be able to check the oil on the road. So that's going to be it for tonight. Obviously, it's late, like always. I got stuff to do in the morning. I'm going to go take a shower, and I'm going to ponder about what I'm going to do with these airlines. Noodles suggests that I switch everything over to actual compression, to regular spring shocks for the rear. I did see a mod on the front where somebody basically took an air valve and was able to put it in the front, and they just aired it up before they went on rides, and you know, they just checked it whenever they needed it or whenever they felt soft, or you know, randomly. My only thing is that the bike came with the air ride suspension. I want to keep it like that. It's got all the pieces here. I've got everything here. The only problem is that the previous owner had cut the lines. So I'm thinking maybe I can do some little barbs, some nice little clamps. I don't know yet. Probably not. I don't know. Noodle seems to think that if I do it that way, it'll affect the pressure ratings. I don't know. But I'll figure it out. And I'll let you know what I do. Whether I do it, the barbs on it for testing purposes, or wait for everything to come in the mail. All right. See you in a couple days. Alrighty, so another day in the shop. You can see here, I've taken the rear wheel off. So the nut on this side was a 15/16, and then was able to pull it out this way after loosening this bolt here, which is 12. So once you loosen this one, take the nut off on the other side. This one slid right out perfectly. It's great. I did have to remove the bottom bolt for the shock, and the brake holder, the brace for the rear brake caliper here. You have to lift up on this and slide this over and out of the way. So this way the tire comes out a little easier. You do have to deflate the tire to get it past everything. I have seen in the past, I have done in the past, where I've taken the bolts off of here and taken this whole differential off. I don't like doing that. I do it only when I absolutely have to. So I didn't do it for this time because the tire slipped right out, which works for me. So I'm going to go through and dismount and remount the tires. Old tire. I'm going to dismount the old tire, remount the new tire, and yeah, I'm going to go from there. I did notice that this rotor has seen better days. I don't know if it's because, yeah, these brake pads actually don't look terrible. I mean, they're a little low, but I don't know if it's because one time they decided they were going to run it a little low. Could be that's just old. So there's some grooving on it. There's no lip on the top, which means that it's not that worn. But I'm gonna look into getting a new rotor here, because you can feel the grooves if you run your fingernail across it. I know you can see it, but yeah, I don't like the look of that, but it'll be fine for now. Testing purposes, correct? So I ended up taking the battery out here because I was going to remove the bolt here to pull that whole thing off. You can do that, but I realized if I move the air shock, I could just slide it over and it would come out. On another note, I went through, and I know it's sketchy, but I put the diverter back down here. Got the hoses rerun. Right back over here, you can see where I did my little clampy, thing. The hose that runs from here up and under here, I had to do the same thing. And then for the front one, like I showed you, this one here, I have to find the new hose for these. They're not leaking. I mean, it's still holding pressure. It's where I left it last night. So I'm not really concerned with it not holding pressure. But I'd be more comfortable with new lines, especially because when you turn the wheel, you can see she's going to come over and she's going to whack the tank like that. I could probably run out. I could probably get a 90. Take these off and put a 90 on there, and it would actually probably work better, which I might do for the time being. But for now, this is okay for now. This is testing purposes. I did take the exhaust off. You can see, unfortunately, they have both rotted off. They're no good, and that happens from mice getting into the system and water just kind of sitting in there. She does sound kind of mean though, with the open headers like that. I would start it, but with all that being open, I don't want it to rattle or do anything weird. So I'm going to change this tire. I'm not going to bore you guys with that. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so one of the things I had to take this beauty cover off here because this brake lever here was frozen. Like, there was a bunch of gunk in there and it just wouldn't work properly. Now we're good. So there's a pin in the back. Let's see if we can see it better here. So you remove the cotter pin, remove that washer, then that spring, and unfortunately, because the clutch cable is here, it doesn't slide all the way off. You have to remove the clutch cable. So I ended up loosening it up enough to where I could clean up in here with a little wire brush and get everything smooth, throw some grease in there, and now we're good. I don't want to push it too much because, as you know, the back wheel is still off. So now, while I have the caliper off, I'm going to do the brakes. And from what I can see, you've got a 10mm bolt on the top for this little plate here that holds the two pins. Two pins slide out the back. You remove your brakes, put your new ones in place, slide the pins in. So now I have to compress this rear caliper because, yeah, you can see why. So I'm going to take off the front brake. I'm going to leave the rear brake. I'm going to use, where did I put it? Little, what's this, 2.5-inch C-clamp. Run it up in there, tighten it down, and then push everything back. I'm going to open up the bleeder so all the fluid comes out here instead of being forced back through the system. And when I do go to bleed the brakes, I am going to flush the system. I don't know how old this fluid is. Might as well do it while I can. So what I'll end up doing is loosen this up, remove the one pad, take the other pad, use it to push both pistons back to squeeze out any fluid that's in the caliper. And then when I go to bleed it, I'll just keep bleeding it so the fluid gets to run through the line and everything and out. If I have a hose somewhere, I think I do, a piece of hose, I'll put it on here and put it into either a bucket or a bottle, so this way I'm not just spilling it all over the floor. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna do that, and I'll let you know how it goes. All right, so I just want to give a quick update. You can see that I've gotten the whole rear end pretty much all back together. The seat is placed on. It's not actually bolted down yet because I want to see how I can clean this. You can tell they use this on the seat, and this is all the build up over the years and whatnot, and so it's going to need a good cleaning. So I'm going to figure out how to do that. I got to tighten down the footboards for the rears because the bolt going in this way is loose. So I got to tighten them down. But the rear is on. I ended up taking the side marker lights off here. I took these off because they have broken covers. Like this side had a broken cover. The real reason I took it off was because of the other side, because this whole light is broken. It's all jacked up and weird. I had a broken cover as well. So I was like, you know what? Let me take them off and then I'll see what I want to do. If I want to put them back on, put different lights. But I don't think it looks bad with those missing. You see, there was a switch in here. I don't know if it was original or it was put in aftermarket, but you remember there was a bunch of switches up here that they used for the lights. I made it so that this switch here controls the lights in the back. So it controls all the ones up top and on the bottom. So I don't think that looks too bad from behind. And so it's even got a nice little light on it to tell you that it's on. So that's all done. I did want to figure out where to put a 12 volt socket. So I think I might end up taking this plate and drilling out the center and putting one in, or I don't know yet. Haven't figured it out. Those switches are going to be up here not doing anything, so I'm going to figure out what I want to do for that. I did notice that the handlebars are bent. You can kind of see it on the camera here. The left side here is up and in, so it must have fallen over and got pushed up in. I could try and fix that, but I believe I'm just going to go steal the handlebars from Archie off of the Parts GS1000, or maybe I'll order another set. I don't know. We'll see. I like to use what we have, which I'll probably end up doing. I did notice on the seat for the Honda here that, let's see if I can pull it up. It's on the other side. Look on the other side of this, you can see there's slots. So if you're a short guy, move the seat all the way forward. You're a tall guy, move the seat all the way back, and kind of make your adjustments, which is kind of cool. I didn't realize that. So me personally, I'll probably have it back as far as possible, which I believe is right about there. It does leave this little weird gap here, but I think that'll be fine. It'll make it more comfortable for me. Yeah, like I said, I just wanted to give an update, and so I'm gonna go make dinner for the family, and I'll probably come back out here tonight, finish the front. I'll probably end up just wrapping these wires up until I figure out what I want to do with these lights, because I would just hook them into the marker lights in the front here. So I'd probably hook those right up into the marker lights here, so they would just be on with that. Or I can run them up and hook them into the switch so they turn on with the rest of them. I did think about having them turn on with all the lights, but I decided, why have all these lights on in the middle of the day while you're going down the road? You can just have them on at night. Might change it later on. I don't know. Let me know what you think. And yeah, I'll let you know when I come back out and start working on it again. Alright, so I have the seat for the Goldwing. I bought some leather cleaner and I was trying to use it, and it cleaned up the spot here really well, but the caked on stuff's not working very well. So I'm just going to kind of use some warm water, some soap, kind of call it a day, and see what it does. But you can see what it looks like now, and hopefully it'll look better. Alright, so this is after cleaning it. I scrubbed it twice with Dawn, and I ended up taking one of the little drill attachment things on it to try and break some of the stuff down. And I mean, it came lighter. It's a little better. I'm not gonna go crazy on it. Honestly, it'd probably be easier just to buy a replacement one instead of spending, you know, $100 on different things to try and clean it. So I'm going to leave it as is. It's not ripped. It's a little stained, but I'm not really worried about that. Well, it's not stained, but it's, you know, it's gunky. So it is what it is. But definitely, it feels better. I used a leather cleaner after the Dawn dish liquid and everything to help recondition the leather and everything. Because I'm sure the Dawn pulled whatever oils and grease was in there out. So I did use a leather conditioner. I'll probably end up using it again. One cool thing I noticed is when I was trying to figure out how the seat all goes back together, pop this cover off. I figured out what this piece was for. So basically you pull it, and that's how the seat slides forward and backwards. So you can pull this out towards you. You slide this seat forward. I have it slid all the way back because being a tall dude makes it easier. But I thought that's kind of cool. I thought you had to unbolt it, rebolt it. You don't. Yeah, so pretty much the only things I have left to make this thing road ready is to, well, at least to take it on a maiden voyage, is to do the spark plugs, front tire and brakes. I do have to tie up the wires that are in the front there for those side marker lights. I do need a new battery because this one is fried, however they did that. So I'll get the battery. I'm going to do the tire and brakes tonight. And then, yeah, after that, it's going to be little things. I mean, obviously I got to put the windscreen on and, you know. But I'm not going crazy with the speakers. I'm not, at least not now anyway. It works. Cool. Whatever. Trying to think here. I do need to try and find replacement pads for the footwells. So like the two on the bottom aren't terrible. They're okay. But the two for the passenger are missing. Actually, only one for the passenger is missing. The other one I found, it was actually in this pocket here. So I need to find the one for that. And then there was also, let's see, where is it? Here it is. There's also a little one here. It's supposed to go on here. And there's supposed to be one that goes on the shifter as well. Actually, two that go on the shifter. So I got to see if I can order new ones or see if I have to use like a grippy skateboard material on it and cut it out and stick it onto it. So when I figure out what I'm going to do with that, I will. I also have to find, I believe there's supposed to be some like rubber stopper here so you don't hear this. So I'm sure that would get really annoying. Every bump you hit is just, and it's not just going to be one, it's going to be both sides. Because both sides are, I believe there's a little rubber grommet or something that goes in there. So I'll have to try and find that. And obviously other small miscellaneous things, ordering mirrors. I just want to get it running and moving down the road before winter, and then over winter I'll do all the little other things that need to get done. All right, so I'm going to pull this, I'm going to jack it back up, pull this tire off, get that done, and we'll probably end up showing you tomorrow everything that's done. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. All right, as you can see, it's pretty much all back together. I got to get the side covers on here, but I'm waiting for a sensor to come in for this side for the air. And then the other side is for the battery. And then in the front here, I was going to put them on, but realized I don't have any of the little grommets that go in here. So I'm going to run to a hardware store in the morning and grab all those. This should be like a standard automotive little grommet thing. So, but yeah, she's back together. All right, so after a couple days of riding, I put a little over 30 miles on there. The exhaust is not the best, obviously. Don't know if I showed what I did or not. Can't remember. But I ended up taking some turn downs, 2 1/4 inch, screwed some holes, took a nut, welded it to it, and then used the bolt to hold it in place. So this way I at least have the exhaust fumes coming out and back instead of coming up while you're riding and smelling exhaust fumes. So I don't plan on driving it around the entire time like that. I want to get an exhaust system for it. So this way I don't have to worry about the jetting being off or fouling out plugs or any of that fun stuff. So I just have to wait on that. It's on order. It'll be here eventually. So in the meantime, as you can see, still no mirrors, but I did order a set, 2 Fast Moto. I picked them up off of eBay, little E, big B, and they look like the stock mirrors. See myself. Oh man. They look like the stock mirrors. I believe this one is the left hand. So it'd be on this side. So you can see it's basically the same thing. It did come with new hardware. So it came with new grommet, new bolts, which is cool. So I'll put them on. But also, I picked up some 4-inch marine speakers. They're 100-watt rated pile speakers. I went with these because they're marine grade and I was supposed to be good. I don't know. I don't want to go crazy with the sound system on this. I don't know if I want to change out the radio. I don't know if I want to. I've seen on forums and stuff where people drill holes in the bags and put extra speakers in the back with a bigger amp. I think I'm just going to replace the old worn out speakers with these. I'm not sure if this little dome here is going to interfere. Hopefully not. If it does, peel it off, call it a day. Because it looks like it's just glued in place. In order to do the mirrors, I have to pull the speakers. So I figured I'd do them both at the same time. So once I pull the light out, there are 4 wing nuts holding the speaker in place. And then there's the 2 nuts that are on the back of here that sit back here. So if I just pull this out, those nuts will fall down. They don't fall all the way down in here, but they do fall down a little bit. And it's almost impossible to get that bolt back through to get it correct. I tried when I was putting everything back together, and it did not work. I fought with it for like 20 minutes. I was able to get this one in, but this one didn't work. And then on this side, I was able to get this one, but not this one. So I had to pull the speakers out to do all this. So I'm going to pop out the front marker lights here. And then I'll show you quick the 4. And then we'll go from there. Let's see. I'll show you what the sound system sounds like. I know it. I think I went over it before, but at least this way it's in the same video. There we go.
Want even more excitement on game day? Yeah, you do. It's time to get on Prize Picks, the best way to win big on fantasy sports. Here's how it works.
So I don't know how it sounds to you, but it breaks up when you get to the higher volumes because they're old. It's 41 years old. I'm sure they're probably original. If they're not, it is what it is. So I'm going to get tearing it apart, and we'll go from there. All right, so you can see I popped them out. I'm just going to let them dangle. But you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 wing nuts. I've already removed them on this side. So if you take, once they're removed, this will come out. Now, the first time I went to pull this out, it was definitely difficult to pull it because it had been sitting on there for so long. This came out last week, so it was easy to pop out. You can see there's 2 of these nuts here that sit here. They actually are supposed to sit right here and basically be glued, I guess. I don't know. Or this is where they're supposed to fall anyway and be stuck here so you can put the bolts through it. when I pulled everything apart, I had one that had fallen down, was attached to the back of the speaker, and then the other one was just sitting right there and made it difficult. It just wasn't going in the right way. So, once the speaker's off, I'm basically going to unplug it here. I do have some new, so I'll do that on the new wires that came with it. So I'm not cutting the factory stuff. And I'll just leave these wires attached to the original speakers. See here, there was a mouse that chewed it a little bit, but it wasn't fully through. So I just kind of taped it up because I knew I was going to be replacing these. So I'm going to replace these. I'm going to do the same thing on both sides. Mirrors, speakers. And then we're going to see what it sounds like. The only thing I have to try and find, there is this thing that goes around the windshield here. I only have one. So I'm probably going to pop this one on the one side. I don't have the other side. It wasn't with the bike when I bought it, so I have to try and find one online, which shouldn't be too hard. I might just leave it off. Otherwise, you'll see it sticking up here and not on that side. And all it is, it's an extra brace for the windscreen, but I've had this thing up to 80 and it doesn't wiggle. No more than what you would expect. So I'm going to change this stuff out. And then I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Alrighty, so you can see here, I got the mirrors on, and I kind of got them adjusted to what I want. Not perfect. I won't know until I actually get it out on the road and able to see where I want them. This one I believe I have a little lower than this one, so I'll have to adjust it up and over. The speakers, unfortunately, they don't fit in here, which I don't mind. I will custom modify them. I would square it out, make it fit, because you can tell those are round where these are square. I don't care about that. I would take that front pleat, rip it right off, no big deal. But when I did a test fit, they sounded awful. I'm not going to blame the speakers, because I don't know if it's the speakers. It could be the 41-year-old amplifier that is connected to this radio, not giving enough power for these speakers. So I'm going to send those back. I think I paid 18 bucks. I'm not really going to worry about it. I'll leave the system the way it is for now. Over the winter, I'll probably see what I can do. I did see online, there was a guy that had 3D printed his own plate here. And it puts one of the little round marine radios in there. It takes this out. But you have to remove the amplifier and the CB thing. Well, you don't have to remove it, but it'd be helpful if you did. Save some weight, I guess. But what he had done was he had removed all the wiring that was in the front cowl, put the new radio in, ran the new wiring for the new radio, put new speakers in. From what I read, he had cut holes in the bags and the tops here to add new speakers here, and then I put an amplifier for those speakers in the rear. I'm not going to do all that. I have a headset in my helmet, a little wireless Bluetooth helmet jammer. So I'm just going to stick with that. This is kind of cool. I like the idea of the radio, but it's not my main priority. Main priority is getting it running correctly, which will be with the new exhaust. And then I can go through and figure out if I have to remove the carburetors to clean them. Because like I said previously, this bike's been sitting since at least 2014. Other than that, I did pick up some little LED bulbs for the lights around the back. Let's see back here for these lights here. So I'm going to try and see if I can put the LED bulbs in it and see if they work. If they don't, oh well, no harm, no foul. If they do, great, because I know LEDs, some LEDs are very finicky on their ground situation, where incandescent bulbs aren't as finicky. So I'll try that out. We'll see how it goes. I do want to change all the lights to LEDs, the instrument panel, the turn signals, all that fun stuff, and even the marker lights that are down here. Eventually they will all come on with the key and all be one circuit. I feel like right now it's just going to be too much of a draw for that tube 15 amp fuse that's in there. But that's going to be about it for this Goldwing. As stated previously, it's only got 17,000 miles on it. I'm hoping this bike will last a long time. I want to take this bike, probably not across country, but at least a couple states over, do a camping trip, come back. Noodles was talking about trying to find a Goldwing himself. Hopefully it's not the same color. But we're going to look over the winter to see what we can find. As most of you know that work on old bikes or tinker with old bikes, some old bikes love you back, other ones don't. This one, so far, has, you know, to me at least, I feel like it's given a lot of love back. It's been very simple, very easy process. Probably just kicked myself in the butt on this one, but it's been very simple. And I love these old bikes, if you couldn't tell. So, if you like this kind of content, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I know we're not posting every week anymore. We've kind of gone to once a month. We're hoping to get back up to once every 2 weeks. But we'll see where it goes. Our families come first for us. I know Noodles has stated that previously, but family's always important. We do like doing this stuff on the side, but family is always more important to us than anything. Follow us on Instagram, rusted_nut_repair. And hopefully we'll see you on the next adventure.